How's it going? Got some new journals. I took, well, how this kind of started was I had these from, I had made a series of red, like, writing journals with some other Audels books. And as you guys may already know, these are probably like my favorite little books lately. These are just really cool. The the graphics and stuff in them are just super cool. So anyway, they're some of my favorites. Plus, I just love the covers. Anyway, so way back then when I made the red series out of these, the covers on those were just embossed like this. So, but they were red. I'd had a couple of other ones that were just sort of oddballs, right? And I had asked if anybody was interested in having one of those made into a journal that I would take pre-order. So I had a couple of requests for those. So I thought, okay, because I don't like to just make one journal at a time, right? So I took the rest of the Audels books that I had. So there was these 4. And then I also had this one that I've had for a long time, just kind of sitting on my turnabout bookcase, and I pulled pages from it every now and then. So it was destined to become a junk journal anyway. So I decided to go ahead and do this one, and then all these 4, because they're all the same size, except for some of them are wider than others. So some are 3 signatures, one is 4, and then 2 are 5 signatures. And then I realized that the shorthand books that I've been collecting are pretty much the same size as far as the dimensions of the pages. So I pulled 5 of the shorthand books that I had, and so I made those into journals also. So I thought I would just kind of show these to you guys, and so you could see what's in them. And I've got them all listed now. So the listing's active as we speak. They're kind of like this one's got some paint on it and stuff. Like they're still a little bit grungy. Like I don't really alter the covers that much anymore. I used to. I noticed that, like, sometimes I go back and I look at my old journals that I've made, and I know I used to do a lot more embellishing on covers and stuff, but lately I've just really enjoyed just leaving the cover as original as possible. For some reason, that just, I don't know, that's just appealing to me. Like, but then add the book corners and the charm and stuff, and I don't know, I think that gives it some personality, but it maintains the integrity of like what that book originally was. So anyway, so that's my spiel. So let's flip through a couple of these, and I'll show you how they turned out. Well, I'll show you this guy first. I considered actually keeping this one because I just love it. It is so nice to just the way it feels in your hands is just awesome. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm really close. Okay. So this guy is kind of a soft, it's like a softer cover. It's real thin, and see how thin it is. And so I've lined it with some real heavy cardstock, and then actually added, I had one of those Cavallini posters of the oh my god, the elements, the whatever those things are called. Why do I always forget things? The periodic chart, right? Periodic tables. Anyway, so I cut one of those posters up and used that to line a bunch of these. Oh, I gotta slow down. I start talking too fast. There's all this stuff I want to say, and then I start forgetting stuff. But anyway, so that's what I used to line many of these. And then some, I actually used some yeah, some marbled paper. So you can see the marbled paper in the background. And then I obviously use some marbled paper as the signature kind of like guard pages. So anyways, yeah, this one actually was the widest of all of them, the thickest. So it wound up being 9 signatures. So I've been doing my signatures much thinner, and because honestly, I love binding books. I just think it's really fun, and it's like kind of zen, to just line them up and just sit there and just bind books all night. I just love doing it. So I don't mind doing more signatures because I think it does help with the stability of the signatures. Okay, to have more signatures rather than thicker ones. So anyway, so yeah, so there is a little bit of scrapbook paper in these. I'm really trying to just get back to how, I used to, I've always used scrapbook paper a little bit, but never, a huge amount. And I never used to use like much in the way of digital stuff either, but I've been using a little bit lately, and just, I'm just trying to get back to using up more of the vintage paper that I've already got, and more of the like book pages and things like that. So, and more like original actual ephemera. So I went through, there are some printed things in here. Okay. So like the Western Union, the telegraphs and stuff, those are printed, and I did some grid paper on the back of them. But I used a lot of original bank ephemera in these, just because I don't know, I just like the subject matter of them. Plus I have a lot of it. So there's a lot of these, the little half size letters folded up, folded up in the envelope pockets in the centers of some of the signatures. This is something that I printed. I printed these, and this was an old, just like not a shipping label, but like a luggage tag. And then this is like another piece of a bank letter. So just 2 pages there on onion skin paper. And so, yeah, so there's a lot of original ephemera in these. And then also there's a little bit that's printed. And those are just things that I wanted to keep. Like, some of the stuff is stuff that I wanted to try to keep to reuse, and probably won't be listed for sale. So yeah, and then some ledger, obviously ledger paper. All of this grid paper that I use, this type of like accounting paper, that's all vintage paper that I picked up along the way. I coffee dyed this one. This is a beautiful music book that was from around 1900 or so. And then, there's the other side of this is some Stamperia paper. And then I did use some marbled paper. It's hand marbled paper. And then here's another little letter from somebody writing to the bank. And yeah, so all of that ephemera is from around 1910, 1911. I don't know. I just think it's really cool. It's just fun to play with. And then I did use a bunch of like flyleaf pages out of books that I've gutted, and some other just random things. I think these turned out a lot more. I was trying to make them more junky, like kind of back to my roots, if you know what I mean. And then these are just pieces of blank pages that were in books that I cut apart into little note papers, So yeah, and there's some avocado dyed paper. I did this batch of avocado dye that was so rich. The color was just like amazingly rich and deep. These are some old envelopes too. These are vintage envelopes. Some more ephemera in there, a piece of marbled paper that you could play with. Just tons of stuff. So kind of becomes redundant as you go through these larger ones. I did some pockets, some library pockets, and then just, you know, these are some reproduced images on over some actual ledger paper that I adhered to the library pocket. So it's original ledger paper. This is a actual Denison label, vintage Denison label, and then a reproduced image. So yeah, so just lots of goodies. There's some receipts, and see, this is from an old library book. So I like to leave that kind of stuff intact and, you know, visible. Some more little note cards. So a lot of those like blank pages, if they were thin enough and sturdy enough that they wouldn't break when I folded them, I used them as pages. And then some of them are too brittle, so I just cut those into little usable pieces. Like, so here's a letter that I didn't want to part with, and so I scanned it, and this is from Studebaker Brothers Company, Northwest, carriages, wagons, harness. And so this was like an invoice from them. So that kind of stuff that I wanted to like preserve, that's the kind of thing that I wanted to, that I printed. But I printed it on vintage paper, so it's printed on like a heavier weight onion skin paper. So I was thinking, if you guys would like, I've been thinking it might be kind of fun to go through and just kind of show you the papers that I have, like the different onion skin and, you know, different types of papers that I have. If you guys would be interested in that, let me know in the comments and I can do that. Just to kind of show you what sorts of, you know, papers I use, and maybe talk about where I get them and things like that too. So yeah, there's a children's book page in here. So I just trying to get back to my kind of my roots as far as, you know, junk journaling goes, because that's really what I love to do. I love, you know, repurposing existing stuff. You know, that's just me. That's just what I love. So anyway, so there's that one. This one's a fatty. So, and it's a one of a kind. I didn't do any others like this one. So, but it's listed right now. So this is number one of the, I can't remember what I called them, but you'll see them in my shop. And I just numbered these 1 through 10. So that's number 1. This is one of the shorthand books. It's brown. It's very brown. So I just like stuck with, you know, primarily brown. I did that hitch post closure on the rest of these using a vintage, like, you know, one of those huge brads, the paper, what do they call those things? Trying to find one to show you. It's just like a huge paper holder thing. Oh my God, it's so crazy how you forget what things are called. And then an eyelet that's turned upside down. So I made my own hitch post. And then to cover the back of it, it's like a brad, okay, like a huge brad. Just to cover the back of it, I glued a like a craft paper tag on the inside of the front cover just to cover up the back of that. And it works really well. I actually used where it folded over on the inside of the cover, I put some super glue underneath that, and then I used art glitter glue to glue this down. So it's really stuck on there. It's not coming off. So the shorthand books are all 3 signatures. And so those are all the same pricing in the shop. So each one of these has an envelope in the center of the signature. And the construction of each signature is very similar. I did add a bunch of the little, you know, note cards and stuff. It's just nice paper, and it's usable, you know. So here's another one of the little letters that I wanted to hang on to, and so I scanned and printed it out on that onion skin paper. And the thing about onion skin that I love is the texture. It just has an amazing texture. Oh, I can't get that in there right now. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's kind of crinkly, but and it's a little bit transparent, which is kind of fun. So yeah, some original letters in here, and then some that are reproduced. Like this one is the Underwood Typewriter Company. It's a letter to a bank here in Spokane. So this is one that I printed, see? And then I just folded it up as though, you know, that's how it was in the mail. And then, you know, there's some original stuff too. So it's kind of a combination. Yeah, and then there's a little pocket in the back with another letter that I printed off. So with lots of marbled paper, and I don't know, I just think it's really pretty. So there's 5 of the shorthand books. There's 2 that are kind of red. This one is more of a brownish red. This one's kind of like a burgundy color. And then there's a gray one, of course the brown one. And then this one is actually like a navy blue color. So it's really pretty. This is the one that has the paint on the back. So that's those. And then these guys, there's 4 of these. So 2 of them, like I said, have 5 signatures. So these 2 have 5 signatures. And this one I just went with the pink because I thought it was pretty. And so I used the pink wax linen thread, and then a pink eyelet, and then pink seam binding. So this is just looped over that little hitch post. And then, so these are very similar. You know, they all kind of have the same type of stuff in them. It's really just the cover. Of course, you know, some of the book pages are going to be different, but yeah, so these have 5 signatures, and there's 10 pictures in each, you know, for each listing. I guess I should tell you the numbers. This one is number 9, and then this one is number 10. It's another one of the thicker ones. This one I went with green on for the thread. This one has 4 signatures, so it's kind of like in the middle. This is number 7. This one has the red. And I didn't have any red seam binding, and I didn't feel like dyeing any, so I just kind of went with like a neutral color. And then this one is the smallest of the Builder's Guide ones. This one has 3 signatures. So I just wanted to retain the size of the original book. This one had a little bit of a tear right here, so I just kind of inked it up, and you know, it's real sturdy. It's got, you know, there's plenty of glue holding this together in the spine and fabric and stuff too, some book cloth and what have you. So yeah, so these are super fun, and I did do book corners on all of them. The Audels ones have a more kind of simple, just plain kind of corner. They're all like a bronze color. But then with the shorthand books, I went with a more like ornate kind of book corner. I just thought they were kind of cool. So yeah, so this shorthand book is number 2, the gray one. This is the more brownish red one. It's number 5, and the navy blue is number 3. The more reddish one is number 6, the burgundy one. And then the brown one is number 4. Okay. So this is my new series of junk journals that are currently listed in my shop. And yeah, shipping included. So don't worry about that. And there's no additional charges for shipping. They're not extremely heavy. So you know, I think as far as shipping offshore, I feel like they would be not extremely expensive. They'd be, you know, right around £1. So for the smaller ones, this guy is probably close to £1.50. So this one would be a little bit more, but okay. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comments or send me an email. My email address will be in the description. And I have people send me messages a lot saying that they can't find my email address in the video description. It's not a link. It's just typed in there. So, so yeah, you have to look for that. But, yeah. So, okay, that's where we are. Oh, and let me know if you'd like to see a video, you know, just talking about paper and that kind of stuff. So, because I do have some kind of cool papers that are fun to look at. So anyway, all right, guys, love you. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.